Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Invisible Woman. I am your host, Joyce Williams, and I thank you so much for joining me tonight. We're going to be talking about weight on me. And this is an episode about being treated differently because you are heavier. Do not forget to send in your visible photos. Do not forget to go to my website. It's jwinvisiblewoman.com. Thank you all so much for the support, for watching those of you that watched the video last week. Thank you so much. I do apologize for the technical difficulties, but thank you for sticking with me. I appreciate that. So we're going to jump right into it. I reached out to some people to be guests on this episode, but I think that it was challenging because a lot of people don't want to talk about weight. I know me for one, I don't like to talk about weight. I don't like when I stand on the scale and the scale is not in my favor, you know. So I don't like being treated a certain way or looked at a certain way. Whispers talked about, you get, it's just sometimes ridiculed because of your size. And people tend to come at you like, oh, just eat healthier and exercise more and the weight will come off, you'll lose weight. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it's not sometimes, a lot of times, it's a lot more to it than that. And it's a lot more difficult to do than, for some people. Everybody's not the same. I'm not putting everybody in the same category. But for some people, their weight is a lot harder to come off than others. And so, with that being said, it's very sensitive. It's a very sensitive subject. It's like when you are in the workplace, when certain things you don't talk about, certain topics you don't talk about. You don't talk about religion. You don't talk about race. You don't talk about people's weight. You don't talk about that. But I'm going to share some stories with you guys, and I'm going to be transparent about some experiences that I've had, personal experiences that I've had due to my size. So stay tuned because I have a lot more of the Invisible Woman coming up right after this. Welcome back to The Invisible Woman. I am your host, Joyce Williams, and let's jump right into it. Now, let me grab some tissue for this one because this is a story that when I don't talk about often, and when I do, it's very emotional for me, but I'm going to share this with you guys. When I was looking for a job, and it was for an apartment manager position, and I was, oh my gosh, I was so excited. I went in for the interview and I waited in the lobby. I waited and I'm looking at the other candidates, and, just kind of sizing people up and talking to the girl next to me and, very talkative. So I talk to everybody. I don't need strangers. And so, she's like, yeah, I'm excited about this job. I'm like, me too, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, they call me. And when I walked in, the lady, she didn't even, she didn't look at my resume. She didn't ask me any questions. She looked at me and she said, this is not a good fit for you. And I was kind of taken back and I was like, what do you mean? Like you haven't looked at my resume. You haven't seen my qualifications. And she said that this job requires a lot of walking. And for a person of your size, it's not a good fit. So thank you, but no. I mean, she was very blunt. And I walked out of there and I sat in my car and I cried. And I went home and I called my sister-in-law. No, I went home and I talked to my sister-in-law because I was living. Oh gosh, I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, I talked to my sister-in-law and I told her, I said, like, there has to be a law or something against what happened to me. Like, she discriminated against me because of my size. She didn't even look at my qualifications. To her, I was already counted out. It didn't matter about my experience. It didn't matter about my personality. It didn't matter about anything other than my size. And she said no. And it hurt. But I had to accept that. And I know that there are some women out there that have felt that same discrimination. You walk into a place and immediately they size you up, and they turn you away because they don't think that you can handle the job based on your size. And my sister-in-law said she missed out on the opportunity to have a really great employee. She missed out on the opportunity. But at that time, I didn't feel like she was the one missing out. I felt like I was the failure. And I wanted to go back and stand up for myself. I wanted to go back and fight. I didn't even want the position at that point because I didn't want to be in a hostile environment. But I wanted to fight for myself, not just for myself, but anybody else that she had turned away because they didn't fit the criteria that she was looking for physically. Now, I know that on the applications, they ask you, can you lift 50 pounds? Can you, I don't know, bend over backwards and touch your toes? I don't know. They ask certain questions like that, but it wasn't even an interview. I walked in before my bottom could touch the seat. She saw me walking through the door and she said no. Didn't even give me a chance. And that's hurtful. And that's discrimination. We protect those who are discriminated against because of their race. We protect those who are discriminated against because of their sexual orientation. We protect those people who are discriminated against because of their religion. But what about the people who are discriminated against because they are of a larger stature? What about the people like me and other people who are looked upon and decided no, based on what they look like on the outside versus their qualifications? Going to take a short break and we will be right back with more Invisible Woman. Stay tuned. Can I tell you a secret? Well, it's not really a secret, but I'll tell you anyway. If you go to formerinvisiblewoman.com, no wait, that's not right. I think it's jwinvisiblewoman.com. That's the website, but the email is formerinvisiblewoman@yahoo.com. And what you can do is tell me a little bit about yourself and submit your photo to be Invisible Woman of the Week. Yes, you can be featured on The Invisible Woman right beside me. Is that possible? Is that possible? Mhm. Welcome back to The Invisible Woman. Thank you so much for sticking it out with me. I'm proud of myself. I did not cry during that first story. So, yay, me. Um, I was scrolling through my Facebook page and I saw a meme of um, there was a woman, she was a plus size woman, and she was standing next to a horse. And so they had a joke, a question saying, what advice would you give the horse? Because this extra large woman is trying to mount the horse. I, I really, I was very offended. I didn't say anything. I went to it and I wrote a comment, but then I erased it. Like I didn't even like submit it. But because I really wanted to say, stop, just stop this because this is not funny. Like you are even though I don't know the person that was next to the horse, but I know people like her. I'm her. You're her. People like her. And for it to be a joke, something to laugh about, for her to be that size, it wasn't funny. I didn't see the humor in it. And I'm not even a reporter, like a person that, finds stuff offensive and they want to report and tell Facebook, look what they did, but that offended me so much till I was just like, because when you touch things that are near and dear to me, it's offensive. And so I didn't find the humor in it at all. And I've seen this other post where there was a large lady that was like getting ready to, it looks like she was getting ready to be intimate with a very small guy, you know and it was all like, oh, she's crushing his soul pretty much. She's so big she crushed his soul. And again, no, there was no ha ha, no he he, no laughing emoji for me. I really wanted to hit the angry emoji on him, but I didn't. I just, just bypassed it. As a matter of fact, I think that one I may have just hit the like hide button because I didn't want to scroll past it anymore and get upset, because it's upsetting to scroll past your timeline and see people making fun of plus size people, making fun of people, period. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a good joke. I do. I love to laugh and I love to have fun. And I'm not a sensitive person to where I'm like, everything just affects me. It's nothing like that. But it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny because I've been there. I've been in the point where I can't fasten my seatbelt. I've been at a point where I I need to, get on an airplane and I need an extender. I've been at a point where I can hardly walk a few steps. I'm out of breath. I'm tired. You know, I've been there where I don't want to wear tennis shoes because I can't even tie them. It's not funny. And I've been mistreated by even physicians. Um, Going to the doctor, I remember going to the doctor and I was sick, like I had a cold, real bad cold. And I went to the doctor and I was trying to tell him, I was like, hey, I can't breathe. I'm sick. I got this, I'm stuffy, yellow, mucus is coming out of me. And he said, if you lost some weight, you'll be okay. And I, and, and just by a show of hands or comments or likes or something, how many people have felt better from a cold because they lost weight. Anybody? Anyone? You lost. I mean, don't be wrong. You felt good losing the weight, but losing weight don't help your cold. Doesn't help your flu. And I'm trying to tell him what my symptoms are, and the only thing he's seeing is my weight. Everything was my weight. I'm like, my ears hurting, my ears are ringing. It's You got to lose some weight. And I walked out of the doctor's office just frustrated, frustrated, but determined to get somebody to listen to me. And I had a coworker recommended another doctor to me, and she said, go and see this doctor. They actually listen to you. They actually hear you. And so I went over to the doctor, and immediately when I walked in, I noticed a difference. And let me tell you what the first difference I noticed was that when I sat in a chair, I was comfortable because they had chairs that were suitable for larger patients. Somebody thought to themselves, we're going to have some plus size people come in here, so let's get some chairs where they're comfortable. That was the first thing. I was impressed because you don't know how many times I had squeezed myself into a chair where I was very uncomfortable, where I had rings on my legs because the arms of the chairs were cutting into my flesh. Yeah. So the first thing I noticed was the chairs are comfortable. I had a little room. Oh my gosh, I'm sitting in a chair. And so when they called me back and I go back there and I tell her, I said, she said, oh, you sound so terrible. You sound stuffy. And I was like, oh, she heard me she heard my breathing before I even said a word to tell her this is how I'm feeling. She heard the wheezing breathing, not the I'm so fat breathing, but the I'm sick breathing, you know? And I was like immediately impressed. This is so sad that you walk into a doctor's office and you're impressed by larger size chairs and somebody listening to your breathing. This is sad, but it's true. And so then, she diagnosed me and she said, you have emphysema or something like that, and gave me some medicine. She didn't say that if you lose some weight, you'll get rid of this cold, right? Now, of course, she gave me some advice about my weight, but it wasn't an attack. It was done in love. And I can tell, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It was done tactfully, and so I listened to her just like she listened to me. And I accepted what she said, and started making some changes and started getting better at my habits. And true enough, just what she said, I did start feeling better, you know, not better from the cold, better because the medicine did that, but better as far as my weight started feeling better as far as my eating habits and that kind of thing. But we're going to take a little break, and please come back. Stay tuned for more of The Invisible Woman right after this message. Welcome back to The Invisible Woman. I know I've shared some not so good stories with you, but I wanted to make sure that I shared a positive story because don't want to leave on a sour note. But this particular time, I went to a restaurant. Yeah, me in a restaurant again. But I went to a restaurant and they wanted to seat me and my guest at a booth. And me and Boots just did not get along well at that time. It was just like a struggle. I got to slide in. I got to slide out. I'm uncomfortable. I'm crunched up. It's just, me and Boots didn't work out. And And so they were like, it was the guy was saying, and he said, and he saw me, and he immediately caught on, that I wasn't feeling a boot, and he said, hey, you know what? We got this really great table, right here that's available, that's more comfortable. And no, he didn't say comfortable. He said it has a great view. That's what he did. He sold it as a great view. And I just thought he didn't have to do that, he kind of, I thought it was cool. So shout out to the man that, saw that look of panic on my face behind the booth and decided to escort me to not just a table, but one of the best tables they had with a great view. And he didn't make me feel bad. He didn't treat me differently. He even flirted with me a little bit. But no, it was just a very pleasant experience. And I wanted you guys to know that, not everybody treats you bad. Just because when I said, they treat you differently because you're heavier, doesn't mean that they always treat you bad. A lot of times they do, but this particular time, he was sensitive to my needs, and I really thought, it was thoughtful, and I really appreciated it. And I want to go make sure I show you guys my shirt before, the shirt that I'm wearing. It says empowered. Okay. Let me tell you what it says. The definitions of empowered: strong, confident, encouraged, smart. That's on the one. And on the two, it says me. So it's a strong, confident, encouraged, smart, me. Empowered. Yeah, I'm going to get it in a minute. Empowered. And I saw this shirt and it immediately resonated with me. And I just thought, oh, that's me. Empowered. Yeah. And now you can be too. Helping to empower you women, helping to empower each other. We're empowered. We're empowering each other. It's been a pleasure, for you guys to spend this time with me tonight. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to hang out with me, to laugh with me, to cry with me, to go with me through my roller coaster of emotions. So thank you so much for enduring that. Join me next Monday at 7 p.m. again for another wonderful episode of The Invisible Woman. We will be talking about, stay tuned and you will see. Okay. But thank you again for joining me. It's been a pleasure hanging out with all of you tonight. Don't forget to submit your photos for the Visibility Woman of the Week, the Visible Woman of the Week. Always add the ability, I guess, because you're visible with abilities. I don't know. But go to the website, jwinvisiblewoman.com, and also like the Facebook page, The Invisible Woman, like the Twitter page, The Invisible Woman. Just follow me on all my pages and like all my stuff and follow my YouTube channel, all that stuff, so we can take this where it needs to go. To visibility. Okay. I sound like a superhero. To the invisibility. But yes. Thank you again and good night.
I was recording. So do some on the other side. No, just do another part. That's cute.